Okay, I do have a stake in all this, what's going on. Let me show you. That's my house, right? John Ratajczak. I was born and raised in Hessville, 7600 block of Montana, which is on the south side of the tracks. I went to Morton High School. I walked for the first 3 years before I finally got a car. We went down Grand Avenue all the time. We crossed them tracks all the time. We hopped over the trains all the time. And it's not going to change because you put a bridge 2 miles down. It's not going to change. If I was still back in school, I'd be doing the same stupid stuff, going over that same railroad cars. So where they're putting it, it's not going to help, to me. At least with Morton High, with any of the other schools, Scott School here, it's not going to be a beneficial thing. The fire chief, I understand going like straight down Parish, where it does keep the time to a minimum, because it is almost straight, and once they get across the tracks, it could, like he said, go left and right. I understand that, but to cut through there, it's not going to help this area whatsoever. You go back to where I showed you where I live. Since I've been there, I built that house. First, I bought a house on the south side of the tracks on Montana, and 6 years later is when I built that one. I closed on a house in 1994, January 1994. Why did I buy that? It was a subdivision. People I worked with the city for 35 years. I was told I was even stupid for building a house in Hessville because the neighborhood was going to be going. But I did. I built my house and been there ever since. One of the reasons I built it is because it was just a one-way in, one-way out. You had, on the backside, you had the woods. What was back there? I see, like the one gentleman said, there's deer, there's coyote, there's fox, raccoons, the hawks. You see it all back there. What's going to happen to that? And where I live, I've never had an issue. I've had my car broken into because I was dumb and left it unlocked. So somebody took some stuff out of it. That's happened maybe twice in the neighborhood. Now, you go ahead and put that roadway right behind my backyard where they could see everything in, not just my yard, but all the neighbors going around there. And you got to overpass this look up there and everything like that. What's going to happen to the crime in my area? I said I worked for the city for 35 years. I was a police officer. I worked this area. And the trains have always been a problem. I understand that. And working this area, I learned different ways how to be able to make it around the tracks with stop trains. And that's something that my time's up? Okay. I will let it up, but I'm not saying we don't need an overpass and we need something. But I don't think this is the solution here. I think it needs to be looked in a little bit more, and whether I spoke with Mr. Rakos. He said that it's probably a stupid idea of mine to raise the tracks where you already see the tracks and you already see the easements on both sides. What's so wrong with making a bridge going over one of them streets to give you that access where you're not tearing up anything? And the kids will not have that issue anymore crossing the street if you could raise the railroad tracks itself. That's pretty much all I can say. One last thing, Scott was at my house. We've been buddies since grade school. And he knows I'm not happy with what's going on, and he tried to talk to me about it. But when he came back and I showed him my backyard, how it's all opened up, you got the woods. I even built a house for the raccoons. But I'm sorry. He says, I didn't know this was back here like this. He goes, if there's a house for sale, I'd like to buy one and move back here. He didn't know that. And those are the things that you have to, right, Scott? Yeah. But those are some of the things that you have to look at. And I'm not upset with INDOT, it's just that I think that could be alternatives and a better plan on how to do this. And speaking with the people that are actually affected, like this is today. Thank you.